Welcome to the Government News Brief for Tuesday, April 5, 2016. In the news, police working with communities to build trust towards solving crime, 4 indigenous communities to get electricity, and Go Invest says agro-processing sector open for investment. The details of these and other stories when the news brief continues. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us. I am Azim Khan and this is the Government News Brief. The Guyana Police Force has built relationships of trust with communities which have enabled them to better solve crimes. Here are the details.
Commander of A Division, Clifton Hicken, says the Guyana Police Force has been receiving tremendous support from residents across communities in the country in solving crimes. He noted that many persons have been given the police useful information, and this is enabling the force to build a capacity of trust.
Because of the incident in Charlestown, we never thought that it was necessary because we know the Bystown, we have our community outreach going on there. But then after the retaliation, we decided we were going to put a single focus in Charlestown, and that is exactly what we're doing.
Commander Hicken noted that the force has initiated a relationship with the newly elected councillors of those constituencies to further deepen cooperation.
We've been reaching out to the person within the constituencies there, and they were all out the night when the incident occurred. And we're working together as a team, and you can see the effort from members of the public to come on board with us.
In addition, Commander Hicken pointed out that Charlestown was not an area known for a lot of crimes, and the community outreaches are ongoing in Alboystown and Charlestown to continue building community trust. Government News Brief, Glendon Greenwich.
Residents of 4 indigenous communities will soon be enjoying electricity as the power grid in their villages is expanded. Here's that story.
Residents of St. Cuthbert's Mission in Region 4, Moraikabai in Region 5, Orial and Siparuta in Region 6 will now enjoy full power supply. Power grids in these villages are to be expanded.
It's actually the network in these communities that we're extending, putting in more poles, extending the lines into other areas within the community where new houses have developed.
As part of the Unserved Areas Electrification Program that began in 2004, the 4 communities received electricity service primarily from diesel generation with mini-grids, overhead transmission and distribution system. The communities have since expanded, hence the effort to extend the grid in each community to supply more households.
It's an expansion of the center, so to speak. Their households or houses develop just outside of the central area that we think it's feasible to extend the grid to supply these new households. But the people who are still on the periphery would have to continue to use solar systems until such time that we find it economical to expand the grid to these households as well.
Over $100 million is expected to be expended on the various extension projects, which also caters for a similar expansion in Lethem Region 9 to supply the Culvert City new housing scheme with electricity.
There are not many households, maybe just a few houses developed there at the moment. As I said, it's a new housing scheme. I don't know how many house lots, but they're empty at the moment, and people are waiting for electricity to be able to move into the area and start to build. So that's why we taking that initiative in terms of providing the electricity in the area.
A total of 150 households are expected to benefit from these extensions of the electrical network. For this Government News Brief, I am Namila Baines-Rowe.
Most stakeholders have given their feedback on the National Tourism Policy. We have more on this story.
The National Tourism Policy is in first draft and it has been circulated to the stakeholders for their comment. Interestingly, cruise visits and yachting are part of that National Tourism Policy because we recognize that those are growth areas for us. Okay? So as soon as we get their feedback, it becomes a public document that we will be using to drive our tourism plans.
That was Director General of Tourism Donald Sinclair on the draft of the National Tourism Policy. This policy will address legislation and regulation towards advancing Guyana's tourism. This will include concessions, best practices, human resource development, infrastructure, promoting specific niche markets, and among other areas. President of the Tourism and Hospitality Association of Guyana, Sean McGrath, says that as of yesterday, 57 of its members sent in their feedback on a draft national tourism policy to the government. When all the various stakeholders would have sent in their feedback on the policy, it will then be reviewed, discussed, and amended for a rounded understanding among the private sector and stakeholders. According to the Minister of Public Telecommunications, Catherine Hughes, the National Tourism Policy will emphasize the role of tourism towards providing jobs and economic growth in Guyana, especially in the hinterland.
So within the tourism policy, I will say that we have supported, and as you know, we redefined Guyana as South America, Guyana, South America undiscovered. And tied into that is the beauty of our rainforest, our savanna. It is adventure tourism, it's leisure tourism, it's hiking, it's mountains, it is activities, it's sports fishing. It's sports tourism that includes fishing, yachts and rallies.
This policy will target bird and wildlife watching and ecotourism. Sports tourism will include fishing, cricket, yachting, motor racing, as well as cultural and entertainment tourism. Shanazalo with his government news brief.
Dredging along the Demerara River remains necessary to keep waterways accessible. Find out more in this report.
Dredging continues to be essential and significant in the Demerara River to keep waterways passable to allow larger ships access, says Director General of Maritime Administration Department, Claudette Rogers.
Currently, dredging is very necessary and important that we dredge the channel so as to accommodate vessels which are calling our ports at a required chart datum.
Rogers announced that the shallowest part of the Demerara River has been dredged.
I'm proud to advise that we have dredged the channel and it's currently the shallowest part of the channel. Currently, the hydrographic surveys have proven it is 5.5 meters chart datum to date. There are other parts which are about 6.0 and beyond. So we may have about, as far as practical, you have like about 6.7 meters chart datum.
Private berth facilities also request dredging on the river, and the administration would respond providing the service as required. Dredging is continuous activity since the administration faces siltation problems.
Dredging has to be a continuous basis because of siltation problems that we have. And so we seek to ensure as best as we possibly can to have the Stephen do continuous dredging on the channel.
One such problem is the difficulty with mud banks that become condensed because they are moving from one point to the other. Siltation is the pollution of water dominated by silt or clay caused by soil erosion. As a result, dredging is done so that vessels have a certain amount of water in order to float and become grounded. The Guyana government has pledged to partner with the private sector in dredging the heavily silted Demerara River in the shortest possible time. Renetta LaFleur, Government News Brief.
Go Invest is advising that agro-processing is the prime option for investment in Guyana currently. Find out why in this report.
CEO of the Guyana Office for Investment, Owen Verwey, says Guyana is a very natural resource-rich economy with the largest landmass in the Caribbean. He is of the view that the country has the potential to feed the Caribbean. Hence, agriculture is very high on the Go Invest agenda.
This government is about to embark on a massive infrastructure development program, opening up areas both in terms of industrial and agricultural and into the natural resource location. That's been a key issue and a key item that has probably been a limiting factor. That is a major one that is going to come and opening up.
Verwey, who remains optimistic that Guyana's economy is expanding and will attract more investors in the various sectors, says Go Invest remains ready to facilitate the process.
And you want to be in there in the first wave to get your maximum returns for your investment. So the economy is opening up. There's a lot of processes that are changing. We're consolidating a lot of processes to make things much easier and making as much as possible as we can one-stop shop through this agency. We're collaborating with other agencies to make the process easier for quite a few people. And I think there's great potential in this economy over the next 5 to 10 years.
The Guyana Office for Investment, GoInvest, is the local agency set up to provide a comprehensive service to potential investors and to exporters. All applications for concessions, investments, and other means of promoting investment are channeled through GoInvest. Renette Lafleur, Government News Brief.
The government of Guyana continues to receive written comments on the draft code of conduct for ministers of government, members of the National Assembly, and public office holders. The government has so far received written feedback from some key civil society organizations on the draft code of conduct. The call for comments is an effort to ensure a thorough and comprehensive code which benefits from the widest possible input. Government will allow for further comments before the code is presented to Cabinet for approval and finalization. Government encourages wide-ranging citizens and stakeholder participation in the process, leading up to the final version of the code, which is intended to promote professional, exemplary, and responsible conduct by senior government personnel. It is further meant to engender and reinforce public confidence in the manner in which senior government officials perform their duties in service to the people. The Code of Conduct can be accessed from the website of the Ministry of the Presidency at www.motp.gov.gy. This has been another edition of the Government News Brief. You can find the details of these and other stories on GINA's website. We encourage you to subscribe to our website and YouTube channel. You can also like us on Facebook so you can be informed as the news unfolds. Join us again tomorrow for another edition of the Government News Brief. Thank you for watching.